What's up, everybody? Welcome to Big Black Guy Reviews. I'm a big... Where all this new stuff come from? What's with the whole new setup? What happened to my old chair? Where'd all this high definition come from? Whose hair is this? I fear change!
Who is it?
I'm just a sweet transvestite.
A battle of the bulge.
Most of all, he is gun happy.
Where do you get up saying that?
I'm gonna try and lose him.
Nice driving.
Thanks.
Cherry Stone's vagina.
No, just kidding.
Number 9 is cool.
So what's up, y'all, and welcome to another episode of Big Black Guy Reviews. I'm a big black guy, and boy, I can't wait to tell y'all the fuck. What the fuck? Change isn't necessarily bad. Change isn't necessarily bad. Change isn't necessarily. Welcome to the episode of Big Black Guy Reviews. I'm a big black guy. Welcome to my new things, I guess. C'est la vie. Today, I've got a very special episode for y'all. Mainly because I really love this movie. It turns out there was a hell of a lot more about it than I was expecting. And plus, this is my first time collaborating with anybody. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to the one, the only Chief in the Doomsday device, aka Doom on Film.
Yo, what's up, man? Yeah, thank you for having me.
So what's going on with you, man? Appreciate you being my very first my very first guest.
It's my first time doing a guest spot, so I'm pretty honored to be doing it on Big Black Guy Reviews. But how about you? How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Just getting used to some major adjustments in life. It likes to do that, especially when you let it. Anyway, so today we're here to talk about Bustin Loose.
Richard Pryor is Joe Braxton. He's mad. He's bad. I mean, he's really bad. And he's bustin' loose. Richard Pryor.
You fool!
And Cecily Tyson in Bustin' Loose.
Don't forget it.
From Universal Pictures.
Try me one time, you understand?
Rated R. Now playing at a theater near you.
The film stars Richard Pryor, who also co-wrote and produces the film. The film also co-stars Cecily Tyson, who, while having some film appearances, was mostly known at this point for her extensive television appearances in series such as I Spy, Gunsmoke, Mission Impossible, the 1970s Bill Cosby Show, Roots, Woman Called Moses, and she even hosted Saturday Night Live by the time she starred in Bustin Loose. Put some spec on her name. Directed by Oz Scott and partially directed by an uncredited Michael Schultz, the film was co-written by Lon Elder III and Roger L. Simon. With the film's original score being composed by Mark Davis, the film's original soundtrack was actually performed by Roberta Flack, with some backup vocals by Luther Vandross. And just to be clear, overall, I think the Bustin Loose soundtrack is fucking phenomenal, especially for the time. And my only thing is, I feel like the theme song is labeled as Just When I Needed You by Roberta Flack. Sorry, Roberta Flack, I know that sucked. when really, in my opinion, whenever I think of the film Bustin Loose, the first thing that pops in my head is the children's song.
Shift, brought to you by DOOMonFILM.
For Bustin Loose, the combined efforts of composer Mark Davis and singer-songwriter Roberta Flack came into play. Roberta Flack stepped in to contribute new original music for the film, including Just When I Needed You, You Stopped Loving Me, Love Always Commands, the super funky Hitting Me Where It Hurts, Loving You is Such an Easy Thing to Do, and Ballad for D, which featured vocal contributions by Luther Vandross and Peebo Bryson. Vandross actually ended up recording his own version of You Stop Loving Me for his debut album, Never Too Much, one of many key factors that Flack played in the quickly rising career of Vandross.
It probably seemed sudden because I was pretty anonymous for a long time, singing in the background as a session singer and as a jingle singer. Well, for like Chaka Khan and Roberta Flack and David Bowie and Carly Simon.
My impetus to become a solo act was Roberta Flack. I was singing background for her, and she had an interview to do, and so she asked me to test her microphone out at sound check. And when the lights came up, she was sitting in the audience, and she says, "You know what?" She says, "You're getting too comfortable singing ooh and ah on a stool." She says, "I want you to go get your own career," and she introduced me to people.
She had as much to do for you as Bowie did, really.
Oh yeah,
that's so cool.
She does, yeah. I said, "Oh, Roberta," I said, "would you like to hear my demos, my songs that I made this week?" So she said, "Yeah, let me hear them." So she sits down in the bus. I give her the Walkman and the headsets, and all of a sudden, her whole countenance kind of dropped. She got very serious, and she started crying. And she was listening to a song called "Never Too Much," and she was saying, "Oh, 1,000 kisses from you is never too much. Oh, 1,000,000 days in your arms is never too much. I love it, blah, blah, blah." And she was so supportive.
While the work of Flack and company did a part in elevating the film, the stellar scoring work from Mark Davis cannot be overlooked. Unfortunately, not much can be found about the sessions, but his jazzy, funky, and soulful themes not only emulated the popular sounds of the time, but they also managed to punctuate the emotion of the scenes in which they appear, a function that is an absolute must for any score worth its weight.
This has been a brief informative tonal shift brought to you by DOOMonFILM.
With a budget of $11 million, it managed to take in $31 million at the box office, which is 3 times its budget, making it a success. But what other films came out that year, you ask? A ton of classics, actually, including but not limited to a Ralph Bakshi classic that I never saw. The original was better, except it was. I'm pretty sure Disney wants to forget this movie, but I can never forget that theme song. I'm sorry I took the money. I'm sorry.
I've never seen this 80s film. It's got an epic theme song.
Tits and rock, tits and rock, tits and rock. It's good to be the king. It belongs in a museum. Insert Abed Nadir quote here. I've never seen it, so I'll just say rest in peace, Andy Kaufman. An unexpected LGBTQ story behind the scenes and on camera. Boys Will Be Boys, the movie. Hollywood continues its normalization of sexualizing minors.
We can stop that now.
An epic film with a sequel I saw before the original. An epic film with a sequel I saw before the original. Oh, you thought you knew what a werewolf movie was? Well, fuck you and your expectations, cause here comes the motherfucking 80s. My kind of classic. Hail to the king, baby. Not the Rob Zombie sequel. OBS. A true legend is born. And of course, wait, what the fuck? This can't be real. This was a thing? Hang on a sec. Okay, Google. Saturday the 14th, the movie.
Saturday the 14th. Saturday the 14th strikes back.
There was a fucking sequel? And so our story begins as our main protagonist, Joe Braxton, stealthily makes his way inside of an electronics warehouse, hoping for the score of a lifetime, but he's probably gonna hit a snag or two first. More like a snaggletooth.
Shit. There goes my goddamn dinner.
It's funny because it shows that he's not just doing this as some means of a get-rich-quick scheme, but that he's actually just struggling to survive. He probably spends every day of his life just trying to figure out how to eat.
Oh, what an idiot!
Poverty is hilarious!
With your broke ass!
But seriously, the struggle is real.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
Well, if at first you don't succeed, try and try again. This time with an accomplice.
You don't want to do it. Why?
Cop over there, man.
That ain't no cop.
How you know?
You don't piss like no cop.
And the key is you always need to bring somebody with you who does not want to go. They have to hassle you the whole time and make it difficult.
Based on where Paul Mooney and Richard Pryor's career and friendship was at the time, it was really cool that it would, put him in this movie in this little cameo spot. And in a character that's not necessarily too heavy or too dependent on Hollywood and all the protocol that comes with it, Paul Mooney has always been a little bit too real for Hollywood. I think he kind of his own volition, decided not to really chase that dragon.
That and Paul's delivery is just priceless to me.
This is a score of a lifetime. We're gonna get 5 to 10,000 a piece, baby.
You mean 5 to 10 in the pen? Let's go, man.
Next to her is what we call Miss Thing. We worked together many years ago on the Red Fox show. We started writing together, and we walked into the office with the white man, and Paul didn't. What he did was sucked his dick. But we're dear friends, and this is all in fun. Paul was with me once when I first fucked my first fat. And he's been holding that over my head for 2 years. I fucked a faggot. I just want to say it now so nobody else can tell. I liked it. I would have married him, but he had to go away and get an operation.
Meanwhile, who hasn't had to deal with one of these guys?
Watch how I handle this. Hey, Blood, what's happening?
Oh, man.
Out of sight.
All right. How's it going, man?
Good. Hey.
Yeah. What would be a case of somebody trying to sound black? Could you give an example?
I know they don't mean any harm, but they don't realize how ignorant it is, and trying to have that black voice that some whites try to do, they really don't do well.
Like, why you jive turkey?
Yeah.
Why don't you get out of here? That kind of thing.
You want me to run that through for you?
No, I'll handle my main man right here.
Just finished Amistad. I saw it 3 times, and I'll see it 100 more times because, I'm happy to do it.
Luke, give him whatever he needs.
You got soul.
Out of sight.
All right, silver man. I'd like to introduce you to my sister, man.
But, just to be clear, when you say your sister, do you mean your sister or your friend, too? I mean my sister.
Love to meet her.
You disco? Are you kidding?
Midnight Marauders tour. Check that out. It's everywhere. Oh, man.
Hey, who's your favorite member of Tribe?
All right, wait.
Oh, he spun. Wow. He spun. Because they never really, I'm sure it's true of other, there are people like myself who do know what they're saying and could do it, I think is right. I honestly think I could.
Do what? What are you talking about?
I think I could write for you in your vernacular because of...
But what is my vernacular?
Well, because I hang out with...
Yeah, but what is my vernacular? What are you talking about?
Well, like this hog is all in my yoke.
Right, Dick. What are you talking about? I mean, you know, what is it? What is it that, what do you think I am? What do I talk like? Something?
What would a heist in a movie be without some sort of monkey wrench?
Will you at least check the registration to that truck out there?
I had to think fast.
Registration. Wait a minute. Do I have to take this kind of abuse, man? Because I'm black? Hey, I bet he don't do it to the white people that come in and do you. No, black people get the chance to buy a television for the first time since the 60s, and this guy want to mess it up. Get out of my way, man. I'm man.
See what you did, man. Now, give me a hand with this. Let's go.
Are you gonna...
Come on, you've embarrassed me enough. Let's go.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at what is a black card and how can you get one.
And unfortunately, Braxton finds out the hard way that you can't bring a B&E friend to a big score. I really love how well this scene can leave the audience feeling conflicted because he is robbing the place, which also further perpetuates the stereotype of black people stealing, which again, try to keep in mind that Braxton's not doing any of this with malicious intent. I mean, comparatively, he could be out there trying to rob old ladies at gunpoint.
I'll do it. I'll do it. Yeah, you know I'll do it. I like getting high. I'm a crackhead. Ow.
Which again, keep in mind, the man is living off of fucking candy bars. But I digress. Let's talk about the loader, played by Luke Andreas. On the one hand, yeah, he's an asshole, but on the other hand, he's right. But on the other hand, I guess let me put it this way.
As a person that says nigga a lot, trust me. That nigga says nigga all the time.
What you gonna do?
I'm gonna knock you out.
Well, shoot your best shot, baby. You got knocked the fuck out!
Have you seen where Jake Paul and Nate Robinson decided to recreate this exact scene recently?
No, baby. What you gonna do?
I'm gonna knock you out.
Well, shoot your best shot, baby.
We are then properly introduced to Vivian Perry and her current boyfriend Donald Kinsey, played by Robert Christian.
If it isn't Miss TV Personality of 1981.
Let's just say he's not great with first impressions.
Bad choice. What are you gonna do with 8 kids?
I am planning to take them to my aunt's farm, just outside of Seattle.
Do you really think you're gonna get permission to take these kids out of the state?
Well, nobody cares about those children, you know that. They won't even know they're gone.
And now, a brief informative tonal shift brought to you by DOOMonFILM.
By the 1980s, when the film was released, the American system of dealing with troubled and orphaned children was finding its foot after drastic overhauls during the 1950s and 60s. The foster care system was beginning to receive government funding at that time, as the placement of children in the foster care system drastically outnumbered that of orphanage placement. By the 1960s, orphanages had been all but phased out in the United States, with similar situations occurring in Canada and the United Kingdom. This adjustment ultimately helped take the brunt of the burden off of the government, spreading some of the responsibility to members of society at large that are financially capable or willing to shoulder it and help children find their way. Domestically, the orphanage situation has shifted towards the use of foster homes, group homes, and residential institutions, the latter of which is likely where Mrs. Perry's school will be classified, but worldwide, there are many locations where the traditional orphanage structure we're familiar with still exists.
This has been a brief informative tonal shift brought to you by DOOMonFILM.
How am I I going to help you get 8 children 3,000 miles across the country? Charter a jet?
And again, the character of Donald Kinsley is played expertly by Robert Christian, who portrays the character as this naysaying control freak.
You can get me a driver to drive that old bus we have in the back.
Vivian, get serious.
You love to hate him.
I need your support more than ever before, darling, please.
Vivian, get serious.
We then cut back to the consequences of Joe's actions.
Years on the bench, I have never seen a criminal record equal in an antisocial uselessness as your own.
The sale of counterfeit bus passes, conspiracy to impersonate a truant office, profiteering on Christmas seasons.
Oh, I can explain that.
Braxton, you have already spent 4 years on probation under the guidance of that gentleman over there.
Braxton is clearly out of options and favors.
Have anything to say for yourself?
I had to think fast.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a confession. I did it on purpose. I wanted to go back to prison.
10 years! Get him out of my courtroom!
And so concludes the short film of Richard Pryor's Bustin Loose. Braxton took a gamble and lost, but sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles. The important thing is that he gave it his all, and I'm just fucking with you. Here's what really happened. And let me just be clear. I love this movie. There are a lot of great, memorable, quotable moments in it. A lot of great acting on Richard's part especially, but when it comes to just pure comedy, just pure Richard Pryor gold, nothing in this movie compares to this scene to me.
I gotta have 20 years. I can't go back on parole. Not with that man. I mean, he looks black, right? But he ain't black. He's white as you are. No offense. He treats black people like dog food. Please send me back to prison. 3 meals a day. And let me sleep in prison. You
10 years probation.
What probation? Oh, no. I'll get you for this. You
Get him out of my courtroom.
No.
And after that moment of pure bliss, it's time for a meeting of the minds between Braxton and his PO.
Us actors must do what we do.
Yeah. I will see to it that you do that 5 to 10. Unless you do a little acting for me. Well, is it gonna make it?
Oh, God.
Well, Joe, how's it look? I mean,
it's a piece of shit.
I mean, would you look at this smug son of a bitch right here? He is seriously abusing his power as a parole officer to use one of his clients to lie to his girlfriend about the bus just so she can't go anywhere. Fuck this guy. But Vivian's tenacity ruins Donald's plans to ruin her plans.
Thought you said...
Hey, yeah.
Donald, I thought you were going to get me someone to drive us to Washington.
Not fully sure what's going on, Braxton uses this opportunity to make his escape during the confusion.
Real nice together. I got splits. Take care, okay, home?
I told you to tell her one thing.
You told me to tell her the bus don't work. That's what I told her.
Donald!
You take care of your business. I'll see you Friday. Fix your hanky there. This lady, nice meeting you.
Braxton! Braxton!
Donald!
After being thrown under the bus and being forced to be an actual supportive significant other, Donald has a plan for Braxton.
You're gonna fix that bus. You're gonna take Miss Perry and those kids all the way to Washington, and you're gonna be on your best behavior.
All the way.
You got that?
I got it, man.
Fuck this guy. And so we jump cut to that fateful Friday where Braxton has presumably finally gotten the bus to a somewhat operational status. And now it's time to meet the precious cargo, aka the Cheerin.
Definite schizoid personality with homosexual tendencies.
Paul was with me once when I first fucked my first.
And now's probably the best time to introduce the rest of our cast. Excuse me.
And Wendy Leon as Ernesto. That's a tough Puerto Rican kid. Jimmy Hughes as Harold. That's the white dry kid. Angel Ramirez as Julio. What is Ryan ass? Edwin Kinter as Anthony. White pyromaniac. Ass. Debbie Lou Chow as Linda. OG Karen, y'all hashtag garbage. Janet Wong as Eddie. Poor Vietnamese, not so young. I follow Alexander as my aunt. The big ass with a red headband on. Kenya Cooper as Samantha. She's the leader of the pack. Respect y'all. Important thing to remember is the last two are black. Stripped and give them
Personally, I think the introductions to the kids were very well handled. Like, you get a very good sense of each of their individual personalities, problems, and some of the things we're going to experience with them later.
Miss Linda, I'm a lady on this trip, and I'm gonna be a great. Get on the bus, get on the bus. My daddy is at the bus. I don't care what your daddy. Hey, brother.
What the hell's the matter with you, man?
He's blind, stupid. Help him on. How come you ain't take me fishing?
What the hell's wrong with you? Take you where?
You promised to take me fishing. I'ma have to kick your ass.
They're monsters. They're monsters!
Not monsters.
Informative tonal shift brought to you by DOOMonFILM. Alright then.
In order to understand the situation that Joe Braxton finds himself involved in with Miss Vivian Perry and the kids in Bustin Loose, it's helpful to take a look at where the state of social work was during the time of the film. In the film, Miss Perry is presented as a special education teacher, and the 8 children are referred to as residents of a special unit.
What kind of problems are we talking about? There's blindness, lameness, pyromania, learning disabilities. One of them was even forced into prostitution in Vietnam at the age of 9.
Due to the implication of heavy budget cuts and a lack of financial support from the community, Miss Perry surmises that the best idea is to transfer the children from Philadelphia to a family farm in rural Washington state. On top of the relocation providing an improvement for the children in terms of quality of life, it's clear that the children suffer abuses and lead a troubled lifestyle in Philadelphia.
This has been a brief informative tonal shift brought to you by DOOMonFILM.
After those graceful introductions, Donald goes ahead and gives Braxton his official ticking clock.
And your return bus ticket back to Philly. You got 15 days to get back here.
Did your mother ever tell you to take a shower?
And what would this lady and the tramp dynamic be without some immediate conflict?
Grab hold of this, make yourself useful.
There'll be no smoking on this bus, Mr. Braxton.
Now, I drive the bus and work on the bus, but I smoke when I want to, you understand? I don't feel like smoking right now.
And so with all of those introductions out of the way, we can officially start our family road trip comedy. Suckers.
Get your workbooks out, please.
Miss Perry's might fall out the window.
Hijinks. And of course, kids do what kids do and immediately ignore all boundaries.
Your money, chump.
You the bad one in the group, huh?
Yeah, that's right. And I can kick ass when I have to.
You know what I was in prison for, chump?
What?
Murder.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Hell to the no, no. Hell no.
Move it, I'll stick you in your ass.
And I love Pryor's reaction here, how it's mostly annoyed, but also a little impressed.
Stole my wallet.
This seems like a good point to get an idea of the children's dynamics together.
I ain't staying alone, Julio. He always makes me bump into furniture. If you could see, you would have bumped into me. I don't want to sleep with Linda because she snores and keeps me and Dakota away. At least I don't talk in my sleep.
They're monsters!
And I want you all to behave like young adults. If you behave any differently, I'll be very disappointed in you.
Yeah.
Yay! Disappointments! Yay! We're used to it! And don't get me wrong, I know there's a lot of you out there thinking, wow, that was a really dark and fucked up joke. But when you think about it, how are they supposed to feel when they've been pretty much raised in a system that looks at them and goes,
However, I wish you luck!
So after driving for presumably a state or two, Braxton receives his own disappointment.
There are no more rooms available in the motel, Mr. Braxton. You will have to sleep in the back of the bus.
There's no bed and there's no TV on the bus.
Mr. Braxton, I think it would be marvelous if you just read a book for a change.
Marvelous, my ass.
What did you say?
I am not sleeping on no goddamn bus.
Meanwhile, later on the bus.
Mr. Braxton!
Braxton, why are you sleeping on the floor? 3 of the boys have just run off.
Wait, maybe the rest of them will run away.
Would you like me to call Mr. Kinsey, Mr. Braxton?
What room?
Number 5. Number 5.
Braxton falls back to sleep only to be startled by reality.
Okay. You mean to go, we go.
So after showing Samantha who's boss, he gets his first taste of what the kids being unsupervised is really like.
No! There's not a litter in that bathroom sometimes! No!
Monsters. They're monsters!
And with that, Braxton knows that it's time for him to take some action.
He burned his house, his mother, and the family car!
With Braxton now having a better understanding of his supervisional situation, he has to find some way to make sure he can maintain these kids' attention.
Okay, I got something.
Wow!
Please tell me he's about to teach them blackjack.
Now we're gonna play a grown-up game.
Stop!
We're gonna play strip to poker.
What?
No!
Brother Rich, no, please don't go down that road. Don't do that.
What the hell are you? No! FBI, open up! You on your own, JoJo.
I'm telling you, it's the biggest scoop of the 1980s so far. Predatory Pryor plays pedophilic poker.
You done fucked up, you know that, don't you?
Tell him something, Joe!
And that was Bustin Loose, the tale of how a man became a monster, so irredeemable that justice was the only dinner he was going to be served. But for now, at least the children are safe. Meanwhile, Vivian managed to track down Harold Martin and Julio at the local arcade, so she drags them back to the motel for an, let's say, awkward moment.
Mr. Braxton! What do you think you're doing?
Weird. Buddy, you're weird.
Why are they in the closets? And why are you half dressed in here?
Explain yourself.
It's Halloween.
May you see something? You know you done f***ed up, right?
You can't hear it.
Or at least that's how I imagine the rest of the night playing out for him.
That is a problematic choice, my friend.
Yeah, that was a product of its time, to say the least.
Shame. 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 Shame.
You know you done f***ed up, right?
So from what I can presume is only a night or two later, we find Braxton outside a motel trying to fix the bus while Vivian has what I'm pretty sure is Cecily Tyson improvising.
I am not coming back, Donald. I don't care if you call out the SWAT team. Operator, yes, just a moment, please. Just a moment.
Yeah, that's right. You paid for this argument. You wouldn't consider it.
You hear that, barbecue? Let's burn! Let's burn!
We watch as Braxton and Vivian literally have to drop everything as the pyromaniac of the group is being predictable. And in the midst of all this madness, what could possibly be worse?
Don't anybody move.
I had to think fast.
And that was the tragic story of Bustin Loose, a man on the wrong side of the law caught on the wrong side of a rifle.
Oh, just kidding.
What the hell's going on?
It's only a child. It's a little disturbed, mister.
It's a little disturbed.
Although I never really noticed as a kid, as an adult, I'm a little thrown off at the staggering amount of references to fire in this film, especially once you take into consideration that, well, elephant in the room. As it would just so happen, this is the movie he was working on when he caught fire. So on June 9th of 1980, Richard Pryor, after they finished wrapping the original cut of Bustin Loose, went on a notorious crack binge freebasing, they called it back in the day. And in one of his benders, he poured 151 proof rum all over himself, and then proceeded to try and smoke more crack, but this time the rum catching fire. And he goes running down the street. First he's running around the yard. People are calling the police. They hear the screams. They see him, the person on fire. The cops show up. They don't even realize it's Richard at the time. They're just trying to put this person on fire out of fire. And by the time they realized it was Richard, he finally got him, whatever, skin grafts, and went through recovery and everything, and rehab and all that. It wasn't until the release of Stir Crazy in 1980 that the studio decided to go ahead and dust off Bustin Loose and say, hey, okay, we might have something here. We just need some reshoots.
So what's that? Richard Pryor running down the street.
Yeah. Moving on.
I didn't hurt him. I just threw him back, man. Hey. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on, okay? There's a fire. I never seen that.
Yeah.
Richard Pryor running down the street.
Moving on. And so we get a little bit more, road trip style antics as we eventually sort of settle down for a nice warm moment between Miss Perry and the kids while Joe takes the time to work on the bus.
Long time, Annie, but I'll tell you, I spent the best days of my life there.
Is there fish in the lakes?
My dad and I used to go fishing all the time, and I didn't catch one fish.
I've never been fishing in my life. Joe's gonna take me.
Why you always lying? Why you fucking lying? And it looks like having to be the captain of this ship is really starting to put Joe to the ringer, as he's still having to put the bus together, this time inside of a torrential downpour. Meanwhile, the kids are still being kids.
And I mean, I'm finished. I gotta drive this bus.
I feel like every dad has been there,
Now shut up!
Oh yeah, my dad's definitely been there. Miss Perry tries to do her part to help, but that really just turns into a big-ass muddy backfire.
I'm awfully sorry. I tried to get the...
Don't shift nothing. Don't do anything. Just leave it like it is. Because it's straight now. And then you can keep it.
And with that hilarity out of the way, it's time to get to the film's most notorious scene.
I don't take shit from nobody. I'm Mrs. Braxton's favorite son. Joe, baby. Joe motherfucking Braxton. Try me one time, you understand? Get me working on the mother... Bitch gonna have to be saved.
You know you're f***ed up, right?
Joe's body was found in a condition that can only be described as deliverance to death. Miss Perry and the kids were found several months later. Unfortunately, they had to be put down as they had all become feral, spending so much time out in the wild.
And now, a brief informative tonal shift brought to you by DOOMonFILM.
When Bustin Loose is brought up among critical and analytical circles, many people focus on the comedy, but it's quite easy to overlook the use of dramatic principle that's sewn into the narrative. Today, I'm going to point out a couple of the different dramatic principles that I found to be entertaining and cleverly, thrown in. So let's take a look. The first one we're going to focus on is Chekhov's gun. For those unfamiliar, this is the dramatic principle that every element in a story must be necessary. The famous example being, if a gun is introduced in the first act, it needs to go off by the third act, and it can't simply be an ornament. There are a couple of examples of Chekhov's gun that work really well in Bustin Loose. Here's one. Let's see if you noticed it.
I'm telling you, he treats black people like dog food. Yeah. 4 years I've been on the road. It's hell. It's worse than being in the Ku Klux Klan, being under that man. I'm telling you, honey, you gotta help me. You can't allow.
It went by really quick, and it might have been easy to miss. So let's take one more look at it.
Yeah. 4 years I've been on the road. It's hell. It's worse than being in the Ku Klux Klan. Being under that man.
That little seed right there became the basis for what not only seemingly was planned to be the biggest joke in the film, but the element that the entire promotional campaign was centered around, leaving out not only Cecily Tyson, but any of the kids. It would take a greater mind than mine to decipher that decision, but we'll leave that for another day.
This has been a brief informative tonal shift brought to you by DOOMonFILM.
And while I don't consider myself a greater mind, some scenarios do kind of pop into my head. Like, I can't imagine Pryor just being like,
Man, fuck them kids. This is bad. They need to know that Richard Pryor is back, and he is better than ever. He is bad. He is insane. He is crazy. Fuck them kids. He said, I'm taking on the Ku Klux motherfucking Klan. This nigga crazy, you know?
Richard Pryor is scared for no reason.
Try me one time, you understand? Bitch gonna have to be safe. I just love that line.
You do realize this whole movie was pretty much improvised, right? Just like my lines. Bad. I feel like I look more like Black Dynamite than Richard Pryor right now. Damn it, Ike Turner. Lawrence Fishburne is Ike Turner. Now, listen here, anime. Yeah, now let's. No. Fuck the hell? Gorilla Glue? I don't want to do this anymore. I got it. Oh. Yeah, except the problem is, I really don't think that's how it went. Because it turns out Richard's original script was titled Family Dream. His entire goal with this film, his original intentions, was to try and step out of this vulgar, raunchy comic like archetype that he was getting typecast as. You know, it's like anytime somebody heard Richard Pryor, they're like, oh, okay, motherfucking niggas and all that shit. So, you know, fun fact, Cecily Tyson originally turned down this offer when her agent approached her telling her, oh, it's a Richard Pryor comedy. She goes, I wrote Richard Pryor comedy. Nah, I'm good. I don't want to be, you know, because she was one of those more dignified black actresses. So, you know, she figured it was just going to be a bunch of damn, you know, black foolishness and blah, blah, blah. Like, her agent finally talked her into at least checking out the script, which, considering it's mostly improvised, I think that might be a result of the reshoot staff, now that I think about it. But once she read the script, she thought to herself, oh, what? Okay, this is a little more heart than I thought. And so she agreed to it. But that also furthers Richard's point, is he wanted to not just be you know, he didn't just want to be the raunchy, funny man all the time. Like, he wanted to be an actor. He wanted to make films. He wanted to be, you know, he wanted to be able to branch out. And this was the only way he could do it, was to make his own movie. So really, I wouldn't even be surprised if it was more like,
Hey, alright, come on, Richie, baby, just hear me out here, alright? I get it, you got your creative, artistic integrity and everything, you know? But I'm just saying, people don't want to see a PG family-rated Richard Pryor comedy. So, look, I'm not saying let's ignore the movie. I'm saying let's start with what we have and just add some stuff. A little spice, a little pizzazz, a little panache, you know? It's just like, we really just gotta, people want to see you be bad, you know? They want to know that Richard Pryor is back, you know, babe? So we can't have all this family-friendly going across the country on a bus with nobody even swearing one bullshit. Nobody wants it, Richard, I'm sorry. We gotta, do you not understand where I'm coming from? By the way, we're bringing the Ku Klux Klan into it. Hey, you want somebody? Oh, sorry, forgot.
Try me one time, you understand?
Rated R. Now playing at a theater near you.
It does make me curious of what the original version was like before the studio stepped in. I mean, don't get me wrong, whatever clusterfuck amalgamation this is, like, they were lucky because it's a road trip comedy, so you can kind of play with that format as you want, but it makes me wonder, like, what Richard's original untouched vision was for this film. We'll never know. Hell, I'm having such a hard time with fucking YouTube's algorithm just trying to edit this down so y'all can be aware of this movie if you aren't already. Share it with people who aren't aware of this movie if you aren't already. And now I'm rambling on and I just want to get to we're almost done here. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. If you want it, you can get it. Let me know. I'm about to... So, back on the bus, the kids and Miss Perry are about as confused as the audience is as Braxton miraculously arrives with an army of Klansmen.
What are you gonna do with you, boy?
Is that you, Joe?
What are you doing?
I had to think fast.
He's blind! He's blind! All the kids are blind! All of them! They're blind. I'm taking them to the hospital.
You get up behind the wheel, we'll help push you out.
And actually, there's very one simple way that we can get rid of racism. And it's a scientific explanation.
Wonderful human being. A great man.
Let you guys get behind the bus. Come on.
And so, thanks to the power of love, positive thinking, friendship being magic, and the fact that this is a Hollywood film, the Ku Klux Klan help a bus full of minorities move on with their night.
I don't think we should tell anybody about this.
And so concludes Bustin Loose, the story about a group of social outcasts and rejects who overcome adversity even in a world full of racism. Wait.
I'm pretty sure that doesn't sound right, my dude.
Wait, that's not how the movie ends. The fuck is going on?
I'm telling you, this is only the midway point. Remember?
So what are we supposed to...
There's only one way this can go.
What does it mean?
I think you know what has to be done.
I think that means this is just part one.
See y'all at the thrilling conclusion of this Bustin Loose review. Yeah, ChiefDOOMsday.com. Go there for all the music, all the film related stuff. DOOMonFILM.tumblr.com as well for all the film reviews.
Spread out so people know. People know what I'm about. It's Hollywood, baby. That's Hollywood, baby. Ha! Richard Pryor versus the Klan. And some kids in there somewhere.